is Enrique Rodriguez, and today I'm going to be talking about 6th grade TEKS in relationship to music terminology. Okay, the first thing we're going to be talking about is musical notations. This is going to be pretty much what you're going to encounter as a beginner in 6th grade. The first thing we have here is your notes. This circle here is what we call a whole note. This one, it's going to get 4 counts, usually when you're under the 4/4 time signature that you're going to encounter. Then we have this, what we call a half note, which looks similar to this, but it has a little stick coming up. That one is going to get 2 beats. So I'll go ahead and write this for you here. This one gets 4, this one gets 2, and then this one, the next one we have is called a quarter note. It's similar to your half note, but this one is shaded in, and this one is going to get 1 count. And then the last one we have here is the 8th note. This one looks similar to the quarter note, except it has what looks like a little flag, and this one gets half a beat. And this goes for your notes, and then also in your music, you're going to encounter what we call rests. This right here looks like a little hat. This is a half rest. I'm sorry, a whole rest. This one just means you're going to be resting for 4 beats. This one goes in relation to the whole note, and then this one, the half rest, looks like a hat. This one we're going to rest for 2 beats. And then the next rest we have is called the quarter rest, which we're only going to rest for 1 beat. And then the last one we have is the 8th rest, which we will rest for half a beat. And this is pretty much what you're going to encounter for the most part as a 6th grader when you're reading through your beginner music. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is music intervals. As you see here, whenever you play through your music, you're going to be jumping and moving around through all your notes. So it is important to know what each leap is called, and it's pretty straightforward. For example, here, in this triple clef, we have an E going to a G. And this, what the interval is the space between the 2 notes. So what the way we look at it is, you have an E to a G, so how many notes are in between? You would have an E, an F, and a G. So in musical terms, this is what we would call a third, a leap of a third. And then the same thing would be, for here, we would calculate the distance between these 2 notes is only from a G to an F. So those notes are pretty much close together, so we would call this space a second. And then moving on, here we would have an F going to a B. So from F, we would have F, G, A, and B. So that's four notes. So from here to here, we would call this a fourth. And then moving on, we have a B to a G, which is similar to the first interval we encounter here, in the sense that there's 3 notes. So this is another third right here. And then our next leap would be from a G to a D. Here we're going to count the notes again. We're going to go G, A, B, C, and D. That's how many notes? 5. Or 5, sorry. But the interval would be a 5th. From a G to a D, we get the interval of a 5th. And then this one right here, we would have a D to a G. So here again, we're going to count from D, E, F, and G. Here we're going to get a 4th. So this interval will be a 4th from D to G. Lastly, we get a big leap from a G up here all the way down to a G down here. This one we call an octave, because you're going from the same note, except from a higher part in the staff. You're going to go from a G to a G, so we call that an octave. or an eighth. And that is pretty much how you would find out your interval between your notes. You just count the notes in between, and that's how you come to your interval. Alright, now we're going to go over some musical terms you're going to encounter when describing musical performances. As you know, in music, there's a lot of performances and a lot of performers, but each performance has a name depending on what the players are doing. For example, we have what we call a solo, which this requires only one player, and usually it could be either with or without some kind of piano accompaniment. And then we move on to a duet. This one is a performance of two players. And just a note on this one, if you know Spanish, solo means alone, so that's why it relates to being only one player. And then the same thing would go for here. This next term, a trio, you look at this first part, tri, which means three. So this would be a performance of three players. And then the next one, the same thing. A quartet, if you think about it in Spanish, quart, it's kind of like saying cuatro, if you know Spanish, that means four. So this would be a performance of four players. And the same thing with the quintet. This one, quint, sounds like quinto, or like fifth, meaning five players for this ensemble group. And then another thing, as you go through your years, starting from beginner to high school, if you stay with the program, you're going to encounter, of course, bigger groups, bigger than these, which will be your big ensembles. For example, your band, your orchestra, your choir, your jazz band, and your mariachi. Here in the band, we have pretty much are all wind players with percussion. In the orchestra, we would encounter your string instruments such as the violin, the viola, the cello. In the choir, well, it's a vocal, a group of people singing. Your jazz band usually consists of saxophones, trumpets, trombones, a drum set, and lower reed saxophones as well. In your mariachi ensemble, you're going to encounter also some vocals. You're going to encounter guitars, trumpets, guitarrones, harps in some groups. And that's pretty much the ensembles you're going to encounter in your public schools as you finish your music program if you stay through 6 all the way through high school and finish in the 12th grade. Alright, next we have some terminology for musical instruments. As part of being part of the band, you encounter 3 main groups of instruments. The first one, you would have your woodwinds, which would include your flutes, your clarinets, the B-flat clarinets, your saxophones, which include all 3 kinds of saxophones, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone, and baritone saxophone. You also have your oboes, your bassoons, and the bass clarinet. And then we go over to the brass group, which will include your trumpet and cornet, your French horns, your trombones, your baritones, and your tubas. And the last group is the percussion group. Here we have instruments such as the snare drum, the bass drum, cymbals, marimba, xylophones, and bells. And these are the names of the basic instruments you will find in your band as a 6th grader and throughout middle school. Okay, this has been a review of some of the music terminology that students at the 6th grade level might encounter, from musical notation such as musical instruments that will be helpful in their success as a beginner. Thank you for watching.